Welcome to the DFS Build NBA edition. I am Kevin. This is Taylor, and we're going to go over the two-game main slate over at DraftKings. Not a whole lot of these left. Yesterday, we dealt with a showdown slate. Hey, I did really like Julius Randle, and he was awesome. So hopefully you followed that advice. And Taylor also warned you to go a little bit away from the Warriors in general. That also was a good decision. So if you followed those two paths to winning, you may have at least cashed, if not more. I only cashed, didn't get a big win or anything. But still, the goal here is, of course, as always, to get a big win, and hopefully we can help you do that. If anything we do say here helps you, hit the like button. That helps us out quite a bit. And if you subscribe to the channel, you get alerted to future videos just like this. We also cover MLB and NFL and, of course, NBA all the way through the NBA Finals. So the way we do it, we go position by position, highlighting the best plays and kind of looking at ownership and projections and just trying to gauge how we want to play the field. So we added a new wrinkle recently where we kind of try to come to an agreement as to which point guard we both like the most. And we do that right down through the five main positions here. And then we kind of show you, the art of build, so to speak. So here we go at point guard. Up top, SGA is the best play in terms of raw points projection at point guard. But right behind him is Tyrese Haliburton, who's been amazing against the Cavs. Indy's up 2-0. The Nuggets game is 1-1, so it's going to be interesting tonight. Let's start there. How interested are you in paying a premium for SGA, even though we do have Hallie and Spida and even a 6.8K Jamal Murray here on the slate?
Yeah, I'm pretty interested, I think. Kind of paying up for double studs with SGA and Jokic is a pretty fun way to build. So I do think he's a very strong play. Obviously, he's going to get most of the usage. The minutes will be there as long as the game is close. Obviously, that's not a sure thing, considering they won by like 50 the other night, but they are in Denver. Hopefully the Nuggets will actually show up. I do think he's not my favorite play at point guard overall. I think that's probably Russell Westbrook, but no issue with SGA whatsoever. He's underpriced.
Yeah, so right now it looks like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter are all back. So I think my first immediate reaction to the point guard position is I'm not really psyched to pay a premium for 9.5K Donovan Mitchell and don't really want to pay for a limited or possibly rusty Darius Garland. So I kind of agree with you. Like, if I can get there, but first of all, I think with all these guys back for Cleveland, like, it's game over for Indy tonight at least. Like, I think that's going to be – I'm not going to, like, necessarily play for the blowout, but I definitely think that the Cavs are going to win, and they're going to win pretty easily. I think the OKC-Denver game, a game 3, which could dictate the series, it's going to be tight. It's going to be really interesting. So I naturally want to get to SGA, who still is technically at a discount. Certainly feels more at a discount when you compare him to Donovan Mitchell and Tyrese Haliburton. That said, the best play, like I like the Russ call, by the way, 5.1K for Russ, who's been killing. Don't have a problem with that. I do like him a lot. But the best play is Jamal Murray. 6.8K for Jamal Murray. Playoff Jamal is a thing. He had a huge game against the Clippers. He projects really well. Even though the matchup stinks, 6.8K for Jamal, like, I don't know how I get away from Jamal Murray tonight.
I think he's a pretty easy fade. I wrote in Discord that maybe the luckiest on the slate on DK at like 67% ownership. I saw. It's projection. That doesn't mean it's going to come true, but he's cheap. He projects well. People are going to see that. And given the ownership and given the depth of point guard and the other nuggets you can get to, I just think Murray's a pretty easy fade. Like, avoiding dupes is a pretty important thing on such a small slate. Like, you're going to build the same lineups essentially. For ROI, it pays off to be unique. And I think one of the easiest ways to become or to build unique is without Jamal Murray. So, like, yeah, he's underpriced, but point guard's deep. I think Garland in the same range is a really strong play. If he plays, I can't imagine he's limited. Like, they're down 2-0 in the series. Are they really going to play Garland with kid gloves? I assume he's going to be full from a minute standpoint. So Garland at no ownership versus Murray at all the ownership in the same range. I just think that's a super easy pivot, or just not play him at all. So I'm pretty likely to fade Murray, all things considered, tonight on DK.
I think the logic checks out. Like, there's a direct pivot in Garland. The ownership is egregious at 67%. This is a rare case, though, where I don't really care that much about the ownership. Like, usually it's some random value who I feel like it's a lot easier for them to burn us, like a Bobby Portis or Alex Caruso. Like when those guys are 70% owned, I'm like, nah, I'll just go do something else and let the field, hopefully the field suffers with that. But Jamal Murray projects really well. This is a massive game in this series. He is just way too cheap. This is chalk I'm personally going to eat, but I do understand the logic there. There's other value. There's Russ, as you said. He's obviously a really good play, really good leverage play right there within the ownership against Jamal Murray. And then Andrew Nembhard, 5.6K. He looks pretty good. And then we can still go back to Alex Caruso. Still could play Ty Jerome at 55 just because, with everybody back, I don't think anybody really wants to play Jerome. So he's just an okay value that is going to be unowned at this point. Not super interested in playing Caruso at ownership once again, but he is still in play.
I'm not really getting. I'm getting McConnell. Just McConnell's a punt. He's 3.7. The minutes have been kind of down in the series, but he is a very good per minute guy. Depending on how the game goes, obviously Indiana is up 2-0 in the series. They've done fine without him, but I don't mind taking shots on that if it helps you get to like an SGA Jokic build. I think McConnell's a pretty good value. Caruso's okay, probably more so at guard than point guard, but don't mind it. That's kind of it. Like I think Russ is the best play. I think SGA is an awesome play. Don't want to play Murray, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I think I'd rather do McConnell as opposed to Alex Caruso. Caruso's price is ticking up slowly, and he's still garnering ownership, whereas McConnell is just not. So I just think he's a better value play at this point. At shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell leads the way in terms of projection. Like you can still play Donovan Mitchell. It's a good matchup. It's a must-win game. He had 48 real points in the last game, but he also didn't have Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter, or Darius Garland on the floor. So I just think when the Cavs are healthy, I just don't really have a lot of interest in any of them. I think one of them is probably going to hit, but good luck guessing who. I don't really want to pay almost 10K to bet on it being Donovan Mitchell. The only perk there, though, 5% ownership, like he's not going to be owned whatsoever. So in a must-win spot, I don't hate it for tournaments. It's just not a thing I'm going to do. Jamal Murray, you know how we both feel about him. Aaron Nesmith, 1.5K cheaper than him. I think he's a pretty good value. I do lean Aaron Nembhard based off of ownership, though. Like that's one guy that's going to be overlooked a little bit, and he's only $300 more than Nesmith. I do like that Nesmith is small forward eligible, but right now I would lean Nembhard based off the projected ownership. And Christian Brown, I'm still going to like him at 5.2K just because the minutes.
Yeah, I think Brown is a really strong Nesmith pivot. Nesmith is another guy who's projected to be super chalky, who I don't really think warrants that ownership. He's essentially max price. He's a good play overall. I just think Brown's right there, essentially the same play at less ownership. So why not just make the pivot? And then Mathurin at 3.9. Like if Nesmith doesn't get the minutes, it's probably because Mathurin outplayed him off the bench. And Mathurin, like I said, is 3.9. He's guard forward eligible. We know he can get hot. He's a scorer. He's going to get usage. So Mathurin, to me, looks like one of the better values on the entire slate. Nembhard, I agree. I think is a better play than Nesmith per the ownership. There's a lot to like as far as cheap shooting guards go. So, again, not really getting to Murray. I'm just kind of paying down for, like, Mathurin. And then I think Dort and Case and Wallace are okay, too. Like we said in the last game, if you don't want to play Caruso, Wallace is a pretty good pivot for less money, who in theory could play similar minutes. He can get usage. Wallace, I think, blew Caruso out of the water in that game. Certainly could happen again. So, again, I like Wallace as a punt.
Certainly risky, but I don't mind that. I think Lou Dort is a really interesting pivot right off of Alex Caruso, similar price. Lou Dort has way worse projection, but he's going to be completely unowned by comparison. Again, like I think if you go like Nembhard, this is where I am right now. If you go Nembhard over Nesmith, you're taking like half or possibly even a third of the ownership right there. So like when you do things like that, and if you go away from Caruso to go to Kason or TJ or Mathurin, those two moves right there are getting you super different. And in my mind, I don't think I need to go fade Jamal Murray if I'm doing those things. Like these things add up too. Like if you're going to make 2 or 3 decisions based off of ownership, suddenly you're getting like a very contrarian lineup, which isn't a bad thing, but it all also needs to hit. Like, am I going to put Mathurin and Kason and TJ McConnell in the same lineup? I don't really think so. I think that is stretching yourself remarkably thin, and there's just no chance that all 3 of those guys are going to hit. But individually, they all look like solid value plays, especially.
I mean, it depends on, like, you can still build lineups that project well, like not too far off of the Murray optimal, and you're going to get way less ownership. And like, I don't really know what you win if you're playing at 70% on Murray and he hits. Like, yeah, like you tie with 50 of your best friends, but if he fails, that 2/3 of the field has him, there's just a pretty clear path to the top. So I think on a 2-game slate where you're limited in terms of your alternative paths, I think that's a pretty good path.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's so cheap though that he doesn't need to get 50 for him to work out at that ownership. He just needs to not completely tank you, and then you're fine. And then you just have a very high owned play that everybody has, and that's fine. And then but you're, as long as you're not getting completely sunk by it, I think it's fine. I understand the logic to it though. Like, there's obviously nothing wrong with that. The problem is if Jamal Murray even remotely hits, you're going to be in big trouble. And I just think he's just not a guy I really feel comfortable fading today. Jalen Williams, though, he is an interesting one at 7.6K. He's a little bit more expensive. He projects a little bit better than Jamal Murray, but he's honestly not that much less owned. So that is another opportunity, I suppose. You could argue for that as well. I think he looks really good, though, at 7.6. I think the big thing you have to ask yourself is, what are you doing on this slate? Like, are you just trying to get Jokic? Are you just trying to get SGA? Are you pairing them? Like, if you first answer that, like what you really want to do, and then you could start thinking like whether or not you have to go away from these chalky value guys like mid-range plays like Jamal and Jalen Williams. That said, on the surface, they both look like awesome plays. Like you can't really say that much bad about them except for the fact that they're going to be owned. And honestly, after J-Dub, like it's a pretty steep fall. Like you save a lot of money at small forward, dropping down to like Neesmith and Brown, Michael Porter Jr. Like I don't want to do that. Dort, like all these guys, like I don't feel great about any of them. Like Brown's the one I could click and feel like pretty darn good about just because he's going to play 38 minutes. But like if I have the funds, like J-Dub there locking him in feels pretty damn good.
Yeah, he looks good. Like if I'm fading Murray and Neesmith, I don't really feel like I need further ownership edge. I think I'm good in that regard. So I don't mind playing Williams in that kind of lineup. But for the most part, I am paying down. I think DeAndre Hunter is a really good value. He might be under the radar. After missing the last game, he's had a pretty significant role off the Cleveland bench in the playoffs. It's kind of what they got him for. So if you don't want to play Porter, which I don't believe for, I think Hunter is a pretty good alternative. Mentioned Dort, mentioned Brown. I think you can punt with Peyton Watson at 3-1. Like, not going to get a ton of usage, but he should see around 15 minutes, potentially more. Like if Porter is just ineffective, Watson is someone that can pay off there. So I don't hate that pivot either.
How are you feeling about like 22% owned MPJ and 30% owned Aaron Wiggins?
Not really getting to Wiggins a lot. I understand why Porter might project okay, given who he is historically, but he can't lift his left arm above his shoulder, so it's kind of hard to have a lot of faith in that.
It's true. I mean, 22%, 30% ownership, to me, those are pretty easy fades. Like, I just don't have a ton of interest in those guys. Like I said, it depends what you want to do. If you want to go pair SGA and Jokic, plays like that do start becoming more appealing. But if you're going to live in that 4 range, I think Dort, DeAndre are just better plays. Dropping down to Mathurin feels better. Going up to Christian Brown, like those are things I'd rather do. I don't feel confident in Michael Porter Jr. right now, especially if he's going to be a little bit owned. Over power forward, J-Dub also can be slid there. I like him there as well. Obviously, Evan Mobley, unowned Evan Mobley, first game back here. Evan Mobley's a little bit interesting. If you're not worried about his minutes or rust, it's not really that bad of a matchup. It's actually a great matchup on the inside. And not owned at 8K, like I'm pretty damn interested in him as a leverage on J-Dub. Don't mind Chet at 7K. Don't mind Siakam at 6.9. Just not really excited to get to either of those guys. I think right now it's J-Dub and Evan Mobley, and based off of ownership, I'm pretty interested in going way over on Evan Mobley. And then, of course, our boy Aaron Gordon, he just gets it done on a regular basis, assuming that they're not going to get completely blown out.
Yeah, I think Gordon's still the best play here. He's still kind of priced. He's been pretty consistent. The shooting's been there. He's picked up more usage with Porter being injured and ineffective. So Gordon is a chalky guy I have no issue with eating. I think Obi Toppin as a punt at 3-2 just because he's so cheap. It's kind of similar to the McConnell thing. Like he's only going to play 15 minutes, but he's cheap. He's a good per minute guy. He can get there for you. If the game gets out of hand, maybe he sees a few more. So Toppin has a few paths. It's not comfortable, but again, if it gets you Jokic and SGA, I don't mind making punts like that.
Yeah, he and Wiggins are coming in at the same ownership, basically, same projection, basically same price. I think I feel a little bit better about Obi than Wiggins. I think they're kind of literally the same play. So either way, you're risking something, and there's going to be a little bit of ownership there. So it just is what it is. So Peyton Watson, for that reason, is a little bit more appealing because, like you said, he's not going to be nearly as owned as those guys. But all three of those guys just look the same. So I kind of would lean towards the guy who's not really owned. How are you feeling about Mobley up top?
He's fine. Not getting a lot of him because I am just paying for Jokic and paying for SGA for the most part. I think that's the build I want to do, which kind of forgoes that mid-range with Mobley, Siakam, guys like that.
All right, sounds good. Over to center we go. The man of the hour, Jokic, comes in with the best projection. He's very owned. He's only 11K. Obviously, OKC destroyed Denver in game 2, but in game 1, Jokic went nuclear. That is certainly possible. Once again, I kind of broached this last time. We talked about a Denver slate, and it's like, without the blowout conversation, like, do we dare fade Jokic? Like, it doesn't sound like you really want to. I never like fading Jokic. Like, I don't have a bad thing to say about Jokic. The only thing I can tell you is that right now he's projecting for crazy ownership at 56% in general. In a single entry, he's going to probably push like 70%, if not more. So, like, certainly there's a case. If you want to fade 6.8K Jamal Murray, you should have some interest in fading an 11K Jokic when they're the mid-range and, like, next tier of guys look so damn good. Like, I certainly do.
I have a lot less interest in fading Jokic because I have a lot more concern about Jokic burying me if he goes off. Like Murray, I think other point guards can match him. Obviously, no one can really match Jokic. Yeah, he's going to be owned. It's a 2-game slate with some okay cheap value, but I'm just kind of banking on the build overall being different. Like if you're feeding Murray and you're playing Jokic, that's different enough. So I don't care about Jokic's ownership individually because I'm already getting an edge by fading guys like Nesmith and Murray. So like his ownership doesn't scare me off at all. I just think that's the way I want to build. And then Miles Turner would be the other one that really stands out at 6'3". The minutes have been up in the series against Cleveland. The need his size, I think he's just underpriced. So pairing those two is pretty appealing. Harden's okay, just because he's cheap and the minutes were back up a little bit in the last game. Like he was trending for around 30, but the game blew out. So Hartenstein's okay. That's kind of it. Those are really the only 3 centers on my radar at all today.
Yeah, with all those guys back, I'm not super interested in paying almost 7K for Jared Allen. Hartenstein, you would imagine they're going to need his size against Jokic, so I don't mind him. 27% on 2-game slate is not bad at all, so I'm okay with that. I think the big thing with the Jokic thing is, like, I probably would only play him or Jamal Murray at this point, considering both their ownerships are so high. So I definitely agree with you in that regard. If I'm going to play Jokic, I'm probably not going to eat the chalk with Jamal in the same lineup as well. Do you want to run through and build point guard through center before we wrap it up?
If you want.
Might as well. Okay, so a point guard starting off. You don't want to play Jamal Murray, but we both really like Russ. You want to start at 5.1 with Russ?
Let's go Russ at point guard, and then I don't mind Mathurin or Brown at shooting guard.
I am high on Brown. Mathurin feels a little bit dicier, so let's see how that goes. At small forward, I'm pretty open-minded at small forward.
Hunter or Dort would be my preference.
We could do Hunter. Feels a little bit
this one
weirdly safer than Lou Dort. At power forward, I think Aaron Gordon's the easy call here, but I could be talked into Mobley or J-Dub as well.
Let's go Aaron Gordon and then wrap it up with all Jokic.
It is hard to get away from Jokic. So we will then see what the optimizer does with those locked-in guys, and it gets us Jamal Murray, Miles Turner, and Aaron Nesmith. So in this case, like, you're not always going to lock in 5 guys. We're just locking in the guys we feel the best about collectively at each position. Obviously, instead of locking them, you can go in to the lineup area and kind of like maybe just do like 70% of Jokic, and then you can run that again or whatever you're going to do. Point is here, you would probably look at that and go find a way to get off of Jamal Murray then in this case, right?
Yeah, I'd play X Murray and possibly Neesmith.
Because he is still creating. So while it's wrapping up there, it's just to show them if they're new to doing any of this, that they can tweak things as they go. Like it's really producing a lot of Jamal Murray. A lot of these guys that are just really nicely priced should not be a shock to anybody. So do you have an overall, it sounds like your strategy is the stars and scrubs. It's going to be SGA and Jokic against each other in the second game of the night, which the game that I believe is going to be the close game of the two. So I'm definitely okay with that strategy. It's hard for me to go away from so much of the nicely priced guys. So I don't know if I'm going to go heavy in that pairing in particular. And I do like Jamal more, but if you had to pick one guy not named Jokic, who do you want to start building your lineup around?
It's either, I don't want to say SGA. I feel like that's kind of obvious. So I'll just say Mathurin. Like, he's really the only sub 4K value that feels remotely good to me. Like, I'm okay with Toppin and O'Connell, guys like that. I just think Mathurin has the biggest role. I think by default he has the highest ceiling in that group, and he helps me in my goal of pairing SGA and Jokic. So I guess Mathurin would be the fly plan, and fading Murray is obviously my primary strategy.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I think in cash games, you're still going to want to play a ton of Jamal Murray. And just in general, I do still think Jamal Murray is a really, really good play. In terms of value, like safe-ish value, I think Aaron Gordon and Russell Westbrook are two of my favorite plays on the entire slate. In terms of punts, I don't hate Mathurin. I feel weirdly a little bit better about TJ McConnell. I mean, like all these guys we're talking about, like Aaron Wiggins, Peyton Watson, these guys are major dice rolls. It's a 2-game slate. It is what it is. If you want to go get Jokic and another stud, you're going to have to take some risk, I think. As far as high-end guys who are not going to be very owned and are very interesting, Evan Mobley takes the cake for me. I'm pretty wild that he is garnering basically no ownership in a must-win game for the Cavs. So what did this produce? Yeah, still Jokic in the top lineup, as you would expect. Anyway, so that should give you an idea of what you can do to manipulate ownership and everything. Hopefully this helps you out. If it does, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And you can also access all of our finalized picks and our Discord by visiting our Patreon, just $5.99 for the entire month. Thanks for watching and good luck.